You know, some people enjoy composing their own music, chord by chord, and others are happiest when they come across that one perfect song. Work is not a lot different than that. Whether you prefer building your own workflow or using a pre-made template, with Monday.com, you and the team can work in a way that's comfortable for everyone. Tap the banner to go to Monday.com and build your own amazing workflow, or find an awesome template. No judgment.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for Season 12, Episode 13, titled Alone Together. My name is Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always, by one powerless co-host. From the podcast pod is my co-pilot. Please say...
The plan is for me to cap off the season, or towards the end of the season, to come out to California.
Yeah.
And I'm very much looking forward to that. We'll be discussing that ad nauseum over the next couple of months as well.
Yeah. To Taylor, the Latte Boy. Hello, Taylor, the Latte Boy. How are you?
You're an asshole.
Look, don't blame me. Blame coronavirus.
I know, but I just that makes me sad. That makes me sad that we still have not been able to get together.
You know what, though? Ultimately, if you think about it, and this is a serious conversation, had you gone through with it, your mind wouldn't have been in the best place to be having fun.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That is true. I would have been. Plus, things wouldn't have necessarily been open, or I wouldn't have had the full experience.
No, forget coronavirus.
Uh-huh.
If there were no coronavirus, you still wouldn't be in the best place to be having fun. No, I just mean like there was a lot of other things beyond coronavirus going on at that time.
Yeah, that's true. That is okay. Yeah, now I know what you mean. I just meant just hanging out with you wouldn't be fun.
Oh,
I thought you
that's
meant
true
by that,
too. Yeah, I'd have at least 3.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. With everything else going on, that would have been tough. But yeah. But you know what? There's always season 13.
Let's always season 13.
If we all haven't been killed by murder hornets by then maybe we'll be able to, of course, Lord knows when season 13 will actually happen.
No, it probably, to be honest with you, there might not be that. They're already, Monday, they're going to announce the new filming standards and whatnot. And because for the most part, RuPaul's Drag Race is a closed set, it might not be that. They might not impact season 13 at all.
Well, you figure they normally film in what, August?
Yeah, like late July, August.
Okay,
they'll probably try and
more time.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try and rush it so they can squeeze it in case there's a second wave, And RuPaul has to finish Drag Race UK too, which I was saying the smart thing to do with that, because it's the same set for the most part, is to just fly them all out to LA and just run it all together.
Yeah.
Finish up the season here in LA with the Drag Race UK girls, and then just run right into season 13 and All Stars 6 and, all that jazz. I get it done, So.
Do you think they're really going to do an All Star 6 that fast after?
They always do it. They film at the same time.
That's too much. Plus, I wonder if this Celebrity Drag Race was considered a success and if they would do a second season of it.
The numbers are pretty good for Celebrity Drag Race. They're okay. All right, but Taylor, you and I just did our Just Between Us Girls segment where if you love porn, I'm going to tell you something.
And who doesn't?
Who doesn't? We were discussing this one OnlyFans guy in particular, and if you're on the exclusive tier, you have a video podcast where we watched some of his stuff and commented. Where I'm trying to really enjoy it, and Taylor's talking about gymnastics, which was very.
That's what I enjoy about porn: the flexibility.
Yeah, I'm looking at this.
It wasn't porn. We watched a YouTube video of a guy who does an OnlyFans page.
Yeah, we watched this twunk doing stretches, and Taylor's like, you know what I like about stretching? And I was like, and gymnastics, and I was like, Taylor, there's a guy who's literally like, do singlets really show your balls like way that they? I mean, that is that a special gay singlet?
I think so. Well, I think that when wrestlers wear singlets, they usually wear a cup, or they used to wear a cup.
Yeah, you're right. No.
So,
I'll be honest with you. This is so perverted. I can't believe I'm telling you this. There's some movie with Paul Giamatti where he's like a wrestling coach or something. It was a small independent movie. Okay. It was good, actually. You should check it out. But in it, I don't know if it's his son or his stepson or somebody is like a troubled kid who he goes into wrestling, you know?
Uh-huh.
And they have him in a singlet, and you can see this guy's religion, you know, in this movie.
Well, there's all sorts of pictures online of guys that aren't necessarily wearing, you know, protection.
Well, there's a whole Reddit.
I don't know if it's where they...
There's a whole Reddit thread of guys in just singlets.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I'm like in actual like wrestling matches, like high school kids and stuff. It's just sort of like, oh, okay, please be 18. As I'm like scroll, you know, if you're scrolling through somebody's like blog or something like that.
That's the name of my new gay porn blog, actually. Please be 18.
Please be 18. Oh God, please be 18.
Oh God, please be 18.com.
The name of the movie is Win Win.
It is. The name of the movie is Win Win. Thank you. Good movie, actually. And isn't like Laura Linney? I want to say maybe.
Amy Ryan.
Oh, Amy Ryan. That's right.
Oh,
what?
One of my favorites is in it.
Who?
Bobby Cannavale.
Oh, Now, let me tell you, Bobby Cannavale, yes, he can get it, but also his son can get it.
His son was on The Mandalorian. He was in an episode of The Mandalorian that I was like, who is this fucking cute guy?
Yeah.
And then when I looked it up and it said Cannavale, I'm like, I wonder if that's his son. And it is.
Yeah.
He's super hot.
Yeah.
So
speaking of super hot, so Taylor, I'm gonna jump. Let's jump right into it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I've pulled a lot of special stuff for us today.
All right.
But we're here talking about the reunion, episode 13, the reunion. This week, after a Brady Bunch-inspired opening number, RuPaul interviewed the 12 non-disqualified queens from season 12. Heidi forgives Gigi for calling her ugly. Ru thanks Nikki for doing Pete Davidson's makeup on SNL. What do you think of this Pete Davidson?
I'm not a fan. I mean, he's okay, but I don't really know a lot about him. I don't watch Saturday Night Live anymore. I just kind of watch clips occasionally.
I used to be really like, oh my God, yes, right? But I'm getting, it's fading very, very quickly. Anyway.
Oh my God, yes, like he's funny, or oh my God, he's hot.
Hot. I don't care about funny.
Oh no, I don't find him attractive at all.
Oh, no. He's still attractive, but like before he was like a number one, he's now like he's falling very, very quickly.
He looks like somebody took Andy Samberg and made a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of him. And then that's what came out of the Xerox machine. So, but I think Andy Samberg is cute.
Heidi forgives Gigi for calling. Okay. Then ask Jackie how it feels to be the Susan Lucci of season 12. Aiden and Britta hash out their rocky storyline and finally bury the axe. I don't want to bury an axe inside of Taylor. I mean, it's not Taylor, it's inside of Aiden. After a toot or boot and reading segment, the queens pretend to argue in a poorly scripted bit. Jackie Cox receives a proud letter from her mother. I don't know if I'd call it proud. Would you call it a proud letter?
It was a
I acknowledge she exists letter, yeah. I didn't edit the producer Luke Saman. I didn't edit producer Luke Saman because proud letter, I don't know. After some guest judge B-roll footage, Ru asks Crystal, Jada, and Gigi what it means to them to make the final three. Finally, Ru announces a 5-song lip sync for the crown. Taylor the Latte Boy named 2 things you liked about this episode and 1 thing you did not.
As far as reunions go,
sure.
This is just kind of a very middle of the road, but almost less on the lower end of middle of the road. I was not necessarily. It was a fine episode. It was okay. But because there wasn't a lot to deal with, there wasn't a lot of drama. It feels like there wasn't a lot for her to. She was working really hard to try to stir some shit up, and it wasn't necessarily happening. But things that I liked was I thought some of the jokes in the reading challenge were actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Some of them weren't, but some of them were. There was one in particular that I thought was great shade.
What was it?
And the one about you came in 13th in a 12-person competition, which I thought was because you hit 2 of them, which is always good. So that was probably my favorite joke of all of them. And I liked Jan's robe. I kind of want Jan's robe with her face on it. For some reason, that image, I know she uses that for Twitter and stuff like that. That makes me giggle every time I see it.
Yeah.
But the thing I didn't like was I didn't like the format. I almost would have rather they waited until they could get them all in a room together. I get that this is sort of the world we're living in right now and that they want to keep the momentum going. So I understand why they did it. But so it's really the thing I didn't like was sort of out of everybody's control at this point. But that was the thing that I liked the least.
2 things I liked. I thought Nikki looked good.
Yes, she looked beautiful.
I think they all look pretty good. The reading challenge was, they've done this reading challenge thing in readings past, and they haven't been as good as this one was. Sometimes they're pretty, really weak. Thing I didn't like, it was just sort of like, the problem is that these all, and this is not a problem, this is a great thing actually, but they all get along. They all get along. And it was, and going back to what good thing, it might be, I think it was a good chance for them to do what they can to redeem Britta, but other than that, it was very meh. Look, I don't really necessarily blame them. I think World of Wonder, and they were just trying to do what they could with this season, and also just on top of that, I think they want to be done with this season, and so they're just trying to usher it out, and we'll see what happens next week in the finale. But before we move on, Taylor, because we're not going to really focus on the reunion today. So do you have any thoughts on the actual reunion itself that you want to talk about, or?
Well, I'm looking in the chat room right now, and I'm seeing lots of comments about Ru's look.
Yeah. It didn't bother me as much as it bothered some people.
And it's one of those that we didn't really... I mean, my husband was very perplexed and confused, and as was I when I first saw it, but my thought was, she doesn't do her own makeup anymore. She hasn't done her own makeup in a long time, and maybe figured this was a way to kind of hide the fact that she's not doing makeup.
True.
A way to kind of cover the face without covering the face. But I guess I don't understand why she chose like a latex mask. It just was an odd... It was an odd choice. It was definitely, I don't quite get what she was going for.
I saw, I think maybe it was in the Discord live that opened, for everyone who doesn't know, on patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia, we have a Discord channel. It's very active. And I think in the live episode discussion, someone knew where it was from. It is a face mask from some sort of beauty person, but I can't remember who it was. They knew what it was. They clocked it. Maybe they'll say in the chat room, either on the Crowdcast or in Mix. Are you in both chat rooms?
I'm in both of them, yeah. Because my first thought is it something where it pulls her face back because she has to...
Somebody knew what it was. Somebody knew what it was. I don't remember what it was. And they mentioned, it's this person's face mask or something like that. Like a Kylie Jenner or something like that, or I don't know who it was. And
somebody is saying that it is imitating a Korean face mask.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, it was imitating a Korean face mask.
Okay.
It didn't bother me. I mean, look, you have Crystal dressed as like Ebenezer Scrooge. Why is it the thing that's bothering? It didn't bother. Look, everyone's doing what they can. It didn't really bother me that much. Did it bother you, Taylor?
It was just distracting because she couldn't move her mouth. Like, you could see that she was very limited in what she could say. Right now, and I feel for her because right now when I do sessions in the office, I'm back in the office all the time, and most of my clients want phone visits, but some of them want to come in, and I'm required to wear a mask. And it's weird to have lengthy conversations while you have one of these masks on. So when she was like, you could see her like straining to, whether it was to laugh or whether to comment on something, you could see her kind of like trying to move her mouth, and it was distracting. It was a distracting
Well,
look.
that happens when she's in full drag too. You know, people don't know this. I wear a full mask. People don't realize that I am actually a very thin white person. This is a persona, a mask that I wear. This is
Little
not
Joey Diaz.
the little Joey Diaz mask. This is not what I really look like.
It's an illusion.
Yeah. So what we're going to do today, Taylor, and this is the other thing to say about the episode, is we are going to revisit, okay, what we said on Meet the Queens in the order that the girls were eliminated. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do that. We have talked about going back and listening to this, and I haven't had a chance to.
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of excited to hear.
And I've pulled only short clips. I will say, everyone should know the first person that came down the runway was Aiden Zane, and I didn't think of this idea until after she had walked through, and I didn't really want to go through and find what we said about Aiden Zane. I'll just say for the most part, I do know what happened. Taylor really liked her, okay, and thought she could do really well, and I was like, meh. That was it. It's not very interesting. All right. So when we get to Aiden Zane, we'll skip over that one. But the first person eliminated, okay, was Dahlia Sin, and we can stop it. Everybody that I pulled is about a minute. So but we can stop if we need to. But here is what we said about Dahlia Sin. Oh, and by the way, and some of them, I don't know why this is. Some of them you talk the entire time, and sometimes I talk the entire time. But it wasn't necessarily always balanced. But if it was, I pulled both. All right, here we go.
Okay. I was not a huge fan of Dahlia. I wrote down here, it will be drama that keeps her around for a while. I think that it will be drama that keeps her around, and that I am calling it that she will make it to match game, and then that will be what sends her home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was going to make it the snatch game, Taylor, according to you, and then she's going to go home.
She
go ahead.
She did give some drama. I mean, she was really one of the few drama moments, but that was her walking off at the end of the first episode. So. Yeah. Or second episode, whatever.
Here we go. I think if she's going to do well in this competition, she's going to need to find a way to differentiate herself from Aja. The aesthetic is the same. I almost like, did she borrow Aja's looks? I mean, that's how much it looked like, hey, yo, sis, you know? Yeah. So,
she sounds like Aja, and she has Aja's aesthetic, but I get she looks like a door.
What is that? Oh, not a door that you open and close.
No, she looks like Adore Delano. In the face, she looks like Adore Delano.
Yeah.
I'm not calling her the next Adore Delano. I'm staying with my rules. I'm not comparing them. Everybody calm down.
So according to Taylor the Latte Boy, you put in the poster, she is the next Adore Delano. All right, Taylor, what are you, were we right on Dahlia Sin? What are we giving? Give us a grade here. How accurate were we about Dahlia Sin?
Well, I said she'd make it to Snatch Game, and she didn't. So I'm going to give myself.
But you didn't like her.
I didn't like her.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give myself a C minus.
C minus.
On my.
I don't really give an opinion at this point, but later on I put her in. You'll hear it. So I'm gonna have to give myself a D, because later on you feel that I have, even though I don't say much here, I later place her very highly somewhere else. All right. Okay. Next, down the runway, we have Rock M. Sakura. He was the next one to go home. And here we go. Here's where our thoughts on Rock M. Sakura. It's only 8 seconds. Here we go. All right. Any other thoughts on Rock? I to be honest with you, I don't think Rock'em's long for this world.
I don't think she's long for this world either.
Yeah. We were right.
We were right. We have to give ourselves an A for that one.
A for Rock M. Sakura. Most of the other. By the way, you can all go listen to this. This is called season 12, episode 0, Meet the Queens. So you can hear everything we said about each queen. I'm just pulling the relevant clips. That one we mostly talked about her aesthetic, but not how she would do. But there we go. Yeah.
Right. This is the Golden Girls episodes where they would sit at the table in the kitchen and they would talk about things that happened in a previous episode. That's really what this is. This is the equivalent of you and I sitting and eating a cheesecake together.
Well, I would have one cheesecake and you would have another cheesecake.
Yes, that's where I was going with that. If you didn't pick that up, I was going to pick that up.
Yeah.
And I said I was going to say by that we each have our own cheesecake. What kind of cheesecake do you like? What is your favorite kind of cheesecake?
I know there's different ones. I don't know what it's called. I like the kind that has a layer of sour cream on top, like a Sara Lee.
Well, okay. I don't know that I've ever had that one. I like a pumpkin cheesecake. Pumpkin cheesecake is like my ultimate, but you can only get that certain times of the year. But if I can't have pumpkin cheesecake, then I would have my mom's cheesecake, which is I know how to make it is really good.
Oh, all right, there you go. Here we go. So the next one to go home, well, I think this is going to take longer. We have more of a discussion, but I guess we're talking about cheesecake because Dahlia. God, yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. But Rock, we knew right off the bat. All right, here we go. Nikki Doll. First of all, you can just tell that the bitch is flawless.
Yeah.
The looks, she's going to give Gigi Good a run for her money. She is going to be the fucking look. I don't know. But the look, I mean, just the mug is flawless. She is fishy as fuck. I know that word is out of fashion. Sorry I said it. I don't care. The fucking looks were down. I mean, but, and she, by the way, has the potential to be a major fucking bitch. She wasn't a bitch.
No.
See, yeah, right? Mostly because she's French. The French are just known for being dicks. But ultimately, though, just like the experience I had with Heidi in Closet, I got bored after a while, and that's not a good sign. I'm going to give myself a C+ on that one. C+.
I will give you I'll give you a B. I'm going to give you a B on that because I feel like we said she was going to go a lot further than she did. I feel like at the end of the episode, we talk about that we think that she's going to make the top 4. But I also think that you're right and that she was beautiful. She never looked bad on the runway.
No.
And she is super fierce. Mm-hmm. But she was kind of boring TV. I mean, it was kind of the same thing every week of where there was that language disconnect and that seemed to be that cultural disconnect. And that got to be really like, okay, well, you've gone as far as you can. I thought of everybody last night. She looked the prettiest. She was definitely the most beautiful of everybody on the reunion last night.
Now the next one is Aiden Zane. Like I didn't pull it. Like I told you, I didn't think about it until immediately after Aiden Zane. I didn't want to go back. But what did you think about Aiden on the reunion? And like I told you, you really liked her looks quite a bit, but you weren't.
For Meet the Queens, you mean?
For Meet the Queens, you really liked her look because she came out in some weird look that you really liked. You really appreciated it.
I would say, as far as my thoughts on her on the reunion last night, I thought she looked really good for her. It looks like she definitely kind of stepped up her makeup game, and with the big wig, she had that very kind of late 60s, early 70s vampira sort of with the hair. She looked like something that would be out of a Hammer horror film, and in that regards, I thought she looked great. It seems as though, and I mean, we can kind of dovetail this into conversation about Britta as well. You and I were very spot on as far as the arguments between Britta and Aiden, and that whole thing of where Britta saw somebody that was doing better than her, but looked at her, sort of saw the fear in her eyes and decided to attack that versus on focusing on herself. So kudos to us for that.
I have breaking news, by the way.
Okay.
I didn't realize I was taking notes as I was listening, so I actually have the Aiden notes.
Okay.
Taylor did not like her. You didn't like her.
That when you said that, I was sort of like, I don't remember saying that.
No, you didn't like her. I thought Aiden Zane had the potential to go far.
Okay.
So I was very wrong. You were the one that you didn't like her.
Okay. So then how do we, and without listening to it, I'm going to give myself, because I wasn't necessarily a big fan of her.
I could go find it.
Depending on what she went. That's all right. It's all right.
Yeah,
let's just both give ourselves like a B minus.
If it was somebody like Crystal or something like that, then we're gonna get to Crystal. If it was something like Crystal, and I'm like, okay, let's go find it. But no. Okay. All right, next one who was eliminated, we're gonna listen to next is Britta. Here are our thoughts on Britta.
She was somebody that she seems super polished. Mm-hmm. And over the course of the 3 minutes, I liked her. Then I didn't like her. Then I liked her. Then I didn't like her. Then I liked her. She was all over the place for me. She and when I say I don't like her, is that there became a blandness where I sort of lost focus, and then she would say something and bring me back, and then I would start to lose focus, and then she would bring me back again. And she ended the interview where she had me on her side. But I'll be curious as to how that arc plays. You know, even over the course of a 3 minute, how that's going to play over multiple episodes. It's
so funny. I feel like I had a nearly identical reaction to her where there's something like, ugh, this one. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. But here's the deal. Unlike you, though, I never lost focus with her. She captivated me the entire time. And which I can't say for the other girls. And whether it was pure disgust or pure cheering on her on, I don't know. And so I don't know how I feel about her. I'll tell you this. I'd be surprised if I'm down the middle on her because I can already tell I'm either going to love her or hate her. I can't tell which.
Yeah.
Do you need to hear any audio?
But that she's one of those that may change from episode to episode.
True. Good point.
You know, if I'm having this experience over the course of 3 minutes, is this going to be where I'm like up at night thinking about whether or not I like her?
All right. Those were our thoughts on Britta. Taylor, your thoughts there on our thoughts on Britta.
Well, I think I stand by that in that you really didn't know what to take of her. Mm-hmm. And then she just sort of became the villain. And I use that like lowercase v of the season, of the first half of the season with her shenanigans. I feel like that was a pretty fair assessment early on. Kind of bringing it into the reunion, you mentioned trying to kind of give her like a little bit of a redemption for Britta. And I feel like she said all the right things in that. In that when they were talking about her and Aiden, of where she owned up to the fact that it wasn't about Aiden, it was about her. And that she hated the way that she saw herself, not how she was portrayed. But just that she owns the action. She owns the way she was doing it. Where we've seen other girls in the past that said, you know, it was an edit that made me look that way. And I think the fact that you had Jackie and Jan kind of defending her and saying that's not who she is. We've known her for years and that's not who she is. Hopefully that does help to where, you know, she doesn't get the way that like Fifi had to deal with stuff back in the day, you know, where she would get the booze and that she was the villain, that people will see her for a fierce queen. And, you know, I'm glad that was sort of settled. It kind of went the way that you and I talked privately about it, as far as the, you know, but we've talked about it and we love each other, you know, her and Aiden kind of doing that back and forth. So I was glad to see that there was a closure to that storyline.
All right, very good. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to deal with the rest of the girls. Also, the predictions we made about who would be the bottom three, the first three to go home, and the top four. So we'll do that when we come back right after this.
This is Amy Poehler. My new movie, Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, is coming to theaters June 14th, and it's making me feel joy and sadness and anger, definitely some disgust, and I think a little fear. But I'm also feeling these new emotions like anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui.
It's what you call the boredom.
Okay, that one was weird. It's going to be the feel everything movie of the summer. Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters June 14th. Get tickets now.
All right, and we're back. Now, we left off with Britta. The next one to go home after Britta was Jan. Here are our thoughts on Jan.
Jan is one of my least favorite.
Now it's time for Road Trip with Taylor the Latte Boy, Joe Betance, and the drag queen Jan Sport. Taylor, can you do me a favor? Can you get the map that's in the glove compartment right there?
Yeah, which of the maps are you talking about? Is it the Greater Los Angeles one, or are you looking for the California one?
The Greater Los Angeles one.
Okay, what should I be looking for?
Wait, hold on. Jan, did you see if my wallet is back there?
Went to an all-boys Christian school.
Jan.
Yep. The name of my
Jan. He needs his wallet.
Catholic school, and now I'm a drag queen. Jan is...
No, Jan, we're talking to you. You don't have to talk about yourself in the third person. Jan.
No, we're right here.
I will dance.
Jan, we're talking to you.
I'm nice.
Do you want to stop at In-N-Out?
Yeah, Jan, we're getting hungry. Where do you want to eat?
I'm different, and I'm not afraid to get messy.
Okay, well, we don't care that you're different. We just need to know, do you want a burger, or do you want, like, a taco someplace?
I'm really mad at you right now, but I'm going to cleanse.
I'm America's
And who cares about Jen? And I want In-N-Out so badly. I can't have In-N-Out.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up In-N-Out.
I want to change
So where on this map am I supposed to be looking?
I don't know. Jen, can we stop and get gas, or what's your story?
No, I'm capable of that, and that's why I'm America's Next Drag Superstar. I'm that girl.
Yeah, you are that girl. Trust me. All right, those were our thoughts on Jan. Taylor, what grade do you give us there?
Well, okay, as far as for the skit, A+. Yeah.
But I think it captured though. It captured how
no, it
extra.
did. It did kind of capture who she was through her time on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that my response is I didn't like her, because I did kind of like her. She was sort of a middle of the road queen that was on the second half of the show, but I enjoyed Jan. I enjoyed Jan more as a Twitter personality than I did, I think, as a contestant on the show. But so I guess in that regards, I would give myself a C.
I didn't like her. I listened to the whole thing, but a lot of us, it was more of not that bit necessarily, but us just analyzing how annoying she is in that Meet the Queens video. And I did say though, and I had forgotten this in the month, that I thought she was fucking smoking hot as a boy. And I rediscovered that during the show. She is a smoking hot boy.
She is very cute. She's very, very
so
cute
fucking
as a boy.
cute. But I do say that in the Meet the Queens. But other than that, no, we weren't a big fan of Jan. And I think how annoying and extra she was, and over the top we predicted. All right, the next one down the runway is the Widow Von Du. Here we go. So I like Widow Von Du quite a bit. Okay. Here's my thoughts though. From what I saw though on the Meet the Queens, her look was a little cheap looking. And it could be
the one with the ponytails. Yeah, she was a little unpolished.
Yes, and that I don't know what's going to happen on the actual show.
But she was unpolished. But then her walkway look with the big tall hair and everything was flawless. She looked amazing.
You're right. That's why I'm torn. I'm torn on her. I think she's going to go. She's going to do fairly well. Okay. I think she's going to do well. I don't know if she's going to win. And I don't know if she'll be top 4. But I think she will go farther than a lot of people give her credit for. All right. What do you think of that, Taylor?
I think we were spot on.
Oh, really?
I think we were. Yeah. I mean, she did go far. She made it through up to the second half. Mm-hmm. There were times that her look was great and times that her look was rough. Mm-hmm. I would say that our assessment of that, I would give that an A.
I think I'd give me a B or B minus, just because I remember in my head I thought she'd go very farther than she did go.
Okay.
All right, the next one we have is Heidi in Closet. By the way, going back to the reunion, mistake keeping the In Closet name. I agree with RuPaul.
Yeah.
But here we go. I wasn't charmed as much by her as you were. First of all, I know it was a choice, and boy, was it a choice, but I did not like those ill-fitting gloves that she had on. Where she had on the gloves that they all went down to her thumb on her palm.
Well, a couple of them seem to have gloves like that, where they just barely came to the bottom of the palm.
I didn't like it. I'm not a fan. And I don't really have high hopes for her. I'll be honest with you. I was taking notes and I found myself losing focus and I'm like, well, where are we again on this one? I just thought she was kind of boring. and didn't find anything interesting about her. So she didn't have the charisma to keep me captivated, whether it was good charisma or bad charisma. And so I found myself just mostly lulled. She thought she was amusing, but I wasn't as amused by her as she was by herself. Yeah, I'm a C minus D.
Yeah, no. And you said that I said I was very charmed by her.
Yeah,
so
you liked her.
I think that I liked her. So I'm giving myself a high grade for that.
All right,
I think that she is. I feel like she was the soul of the season.
Yeah, in it, you liked her. Again, the reason I didn't put, because a lot of times you were focusing, that's why the glove comment came up, is you were focusing on her looks, a lot of people's looks a lot of time. And so, like, well, just to meet the. All right, next one, Jackie Cox. Here we go, Jackie Cox. For some reason, I wrote, actually, you know what? Now I guess I grew to like her, because as the comments go down, they get more and more positive. I go, oh, I like that she says she's nerd and she has talent. And the last thing I wrote was, I grew to like her.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Jackie Cox? How do you think she's going to fare? I think she's
a middle of the road girl. I think.
Yeah. Taylor?
Well, I mean, technically she came in 5th, which is still middle of the road, but it's the higher end of the road.
Yeah.
She is somebody that I feel like what you talked about in that Meet the Queens arc is kind of similar to the Britta arc that we talked about over those 3 minutes, is that I think we all grew to love Jackie. I always kind of liked Jackie, but I really got to like her more as she went further in the competition, and she really kind of showed herself, and especially with the One Queen show where she, the thing they use is, you made us fall in love with you. And I feel like that, I think that that's true within the 3-minute Meet the Queens versus the arc of the entire show.
Yeah.
So I think we did pretty well on that. I think we didn't give her as much credit maybe as we could have, thinking that maybe she would be eliminated a little bit sooner. But so I'd say a B.
It's a tricky one. Yeah, I'd say B minus for me, because it's tricky because the results are the results. But you could argue that Jackie probably should have gone home an episode or 2 before. Maybe Heidi should have stayed longer than Jackie did. And yeah, all right, B minus. I give myself a B minus. All right, next up, this is where we're going to talk about Sherry Pie. Here we go. All right, next we have Sherry Pie. I feel we're going to be talking about Sherry Pie quite a bit. The first comment I wrote, I'm very curious to hear why I wrote this. I just wrote, oh God. I don't know if there's a place for her on RuPaul's Drag Race, and I don't see how she goes very far. And that has nothing to do with how good she is as a drag queen. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
We should
cut to the end of May, when the winner of season 12 is crowned Sherry Pie.
Yeah. Taylor?
Wow. We knew, but we didn't know, but we knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I remember you saying oh God. I remember that from the Meet the Queens episode.
Yeah.
She very much could have been the winner of the entire thing had she not fucked up as royally as she did. I think that we see that's a weird one, because we kind of made jokes about it, that we didn't know if she would be strong. I guess technically we have to give ourselves a bad grade, because I think you and I thought that she was going to be gone soon.
You'll find out. We should give ourselves a bad grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So so then I get so do we get an F for that?
I don't know. That's a weird one, because then our not liking her was correct. Our gut reaction was the correct reaction. It's just in terms of, okay, we're going to split this one in 2. An A for not liking her, an F for our prediction on her placement.
Okay. So that's a C.
Yeah.
That means that we get a C for that one.
A C for that one. All right, here we go. Next, we have Jada Essence Hall.
Jada, I wrote drama when she walked in. That was the only thing that I got from her. And then when she did her interview, I wrote down she's a pageant girl, which means she's going to be super competitive. And she said that her catchphrase is always, don't worry about me, worry about yourself. She's going to be the one that is trying to get ever under everybody else's skin by commenting on their looks and commenting on their outfits. And she's going to be the drama.
But one thing I did say, though, in her favor for Jada Essence Hall is she's a pageant queen. Here's the one thing. With the exception of Elimination Lopez, pageant queens tend to go farther than filler on this show. They tend to do at least the middle. Now, by the way, before you give me an A and you an F or whatever, what I didn't put in there because it's very long is an entire rant I did agreeing with you about what a bitch you would be.
Okay.
I
have to give myself an F for that.
So don't think that I'm going I was right and you were wrong. I said that at the end after I do an entire rant. You can go hear it on the episode about if you say, don't worry about you, worry about yourself. That already means you're a problem, right? So I do like 10 minutes on it. So I would say I'm in the same boat as you. I just added the part where pageant queens don't ever underestimate a pageant queen.
Yeah.
So for that, I'll give myself a C- then, because I did say that she might go far.
I'm giving myself an F for that one because I completely screwed up. I really grew to love Jada over the course of the season. So I was completely off the mark for that one.
All right, here we go. Gigi Good. I'm going to tell you, this one is 9 seconds. 9 seconds. Here we go. Your thoughts on Gigi Good from Los Angeles, California?
Top 3.
I agree. A.
A. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't not. When she came out in that tartan outfit with there was no way she wasn't going to be in top 3.
Yeah.
And just the interview and everything. And we learned, that she offered so much more besides just looks. There was no way she wasn't going to get to top 3. The more the season progressed, you're like, oh, this bitch, this bitch has got it.
All right, here we go. Now the last one.
I can only imagine.
Crystal Method. Here we go.
She is one that I thought felt more like a Dragula girl than a Drag Race girl. I thought it was weird that Party Monster was became her inspiration to do drag, considering that's, about a murder.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to tell you this. Don't Fuck with Cats on Netflix inspired me to go on a male modeling show and commit murder. By the way, what a dated reference with Don't Fuck with Cats. Really
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. See, we all find sparks of just one little spark of creativity that just sends us on these journeys.
Go ahead.
She felt a little unprepared.
Yes.
And the one thing that she kept talking about was that she feels she's more about more and more and more accessories, especially cheap accessories. And my concern she seems like a sweet girl. My concern for that, if she comes out wearing tons and tons and tons of stuff, Michelle is going to rip her apart. And then that is going to be where, if this is her drag aesthetic, then that's going to be a problem for her, I think.
And there is something about the way that Crystal is talking that makes me think she wasn't there very long.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, no, she says something where she kind of makes an excuse of why she's not going to win, like in the middle of her interview. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. Well, I just said, even if she doesn't, even if she lasts a while, one of the things, like I told you, I was focusing on charisma and the way they present themselves. There was a lack of poise that you would not see in America's Next Drag Superstar. Taylor, your thoughts on what we thought about Crystal Method?
Well, I stand behind just about everything I said.
Yeah, me too.
Just about everything that I said. It's definitely come to fruition. I mean, Michelle had issues with her in the beginning. She does it's more and more and more. There is a lack of polish, I think I said, or something like that. That everything is the case. I feel like I said that I didn't think she'd be around long. That maybe that just part was cut out, but otherwise, I give myself a pretty solid A there.
Yeah, it's a weird one because even though we were wrong, this is where we were wrong. Well, we'll find out about her placement. I stand by. I mean, to be honest with you, the reunion speaks to this. The look was cute, not cute, but fun and interesting and great. But they didn't cut to her much because she doesn't have a lot to say. She's not a very interesting camera personality. Much like Cameron Michaels, she's not good on camera.
Yeah.
And that I actually think ultimately that does hurt her chances of winning. I'm not saying she's not going to win, but I think that hurts her chances of winning. She's just not good television.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's also the things that we talked about, the things that particularly that you said, as far as that lack of poise and lack of confidence thing, is I think part of the reason why we grew to love Crystal over the course of the season.
Yes.
And she became somebody that you wanted to watch and that you wanted to see that arc and you wanted to see her. I feel like to varying degrees, we all were really rooting for Crystal as the more you got to know her versus other girls, you're sort of like, whatever.
The reunion's a good example in that it's one of these things where, you know, it's not something that would play well when you see someone for the first time in the first 3 minutes ever of meeting them. But we were like, oh my God, that's so funny and so cute and so Crystal that she held the candle the entire time that she was doing the thing. You're like, oh, that's so Crystal. Or she's lighting the candle for lighting because the lighting went out. We think that at the time, I don't think our assessment was wrong. It's just we didn't know her.
Right.
We had no emotional connection to her.
And I still believe she would. She still strikes me, even with all of her aesthetics and everything, all of her looks. I still think she's somebody that could be a Dragula girl, and that's not meant as a read. I think she could go and be in a season of Dragula and be a heavy contender.
No, you're right.
The crown.
So, are you ready to hear who we thought were going to be the first 3 queens to go home?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Here at the end, Taylor and I predicted who would be the first 3 queens to go home.
The people that I think will go home first, in no particular order, are Crystal, Method, Sherry Pie. Oh, shit, did I only pick 2? Oh, and Rockham.
I literally have the exact same first 3 to go.
Okay.
We got one of them right.
I was going to say we got 33% right.
But it ironically, the other 2 made it all the way to the very end.
Right.
Yeah. So what grade do you give us on that one? Ooh.
Oh, we get an F for that one.
An F, yeah.
A 33% on a test would be a absolute F.
All right, here we go. Now here's our top 4. Here we go.
And I feel as though the top 4 that will make it all the way to the end.
Yeah. I'm excited for this.
And could potentially be the top 4 if they do the lip syncs against each other.
Yeah,
so technically, we should do a top 4 instead of top 3. Okay. Again, in alphabetical order, would be Gigi Good, Nikki Doll, Widow Von Du, and Britta. That's not alphabetical, but you know what I mean.
That's very interesting, Taylor. That's very interesting because if we're doing alphabetical order, I'm going to give you 5. I'll tell you why, because it's very interesting what you said. I'm saying Britta. I have Dahlia Sin, believe it or not.
God.
Gigi Good. Okay. And then in that 5th spot, just because it's alphabetical order, Nikki Doll and Widow Von Du. God, we were so fucking wrong.
We were really off.
We
were really off.
Apart from Gigi
But that's
Good.
just the thing. But think about it. I mean, you have 3 minutes and a look and a runway look to get to know these girls. So, and while some of them I feel like we were spot on, a lot of them we were sort of like, we don't know, we think, and you're not going to know. You don't know until you know. Yeah. And you don't know what to expect until you actually watch the show. So that is funny wow, we were really off. Can you imagine those lip syncs though? What those lip syncs would be like?
Oh, I know. No, I can't. I'll give Widow was actually a good lip sync person.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, when she did, I mean, her Widow was one of my favorite lip syncs. The Shaka Khan lip sync was one of my favorite lip syncs of the season. So I can appreciate that, but she
honestly, the worst thing that happened to Widow was to win that first episode, because I think she pulled all her tricks in that first episode. But if she would have had those tricks later on, I think it would have saved her for another week. The other thing with Widow is it wasn't necessarily that she was a weak queen, but as much as that she gave up on herself. Hers was she just sort of gave up.
Yes.
You know, and that was ultimately what led to her undoing. Was her she just gave up, and that was the thing with her. But again, I don't know if she would have won. If she just would have gone a couple episodes further. I don't think she would have won the whole thing or been in the top 4. All right. Any other final thoughts on the reunion? Everything leading up before we go into the finale next week, Taylor.
I want to know who you want to win. Who do you think is going to win, and who do you want to win?
Okay. A very good question. And then I want you to answer the same question when I'm done. I'm going to say, I really think, oh God, this is crazy. Okay. Who do
you think is going to win first?
I think, oh God, I'm really torn, because I'm torn between who I want and who I think will win.
Yeah.
I think Gigi Good will win, but I want Jada Essence Hall to win.
That's exactly where I am. That's exactly where I am. I feel like Gigi, while we said Gigi was a strong competitor when we did Meet the Queens, I feel like her trajectory went down, whereas Jada's definitely went up.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're doing it from that level, then Jada needs to win. Now, you could also say Crystal is also where Crystal is going up, was going up as well. But I feel like Crystal makes for a great all-stars contender.
Yes.
Whereas I don't feel like Gigi or Jada do.
You're right.
So because I know that like Haley Sklans right now is probably cursing both of us because we're not saying that we're Team Crystal. I am Team Crystal for an all-star season as compared to being a winner of a season. So I feel like Jada has earned the title. This is one of these seasons, though, that, you know, I feel like there have been other kind of similar to season 8 with Bob, Kim, and Naomi. Like, if any of them win, I'm going to be happy. It's not like the season with Cameron and Aquaria and Eureka. This is one of these that, I mean, it will be a nice period at the end of the sentence of this season, whoever wins. But I'm really rooting more and more for Team Jada the more I think about it.
The one thing you can't overlook is I do think there is a chance that this special way that they're doing the finale, lip sync for the crown, might benefit a Crystal who is more creative and original, and the videos she creates might be more original, almost like a Sasha Velour Rose Petals thing.
Yeah.
Where Sasha Velour was the Crystal going into if you think about it, into the finale. Yeah. We thought it was Shay or Trinity. You know, Shay, maybe Trinity's to win. No one was considering Sasha. And I wouldn't be surprised if I think if it was a traditional lip sync for the crown in a theater, I think Crystal's done. Right? Yeah. But I wouldn't put it past her to have something really creative up her sleeve that she does, and maybe comes in and steals it, which I'd be fine with.
I no matter who wins next week, I am going to be happy. Yeah. I'm going to be happy for each of the contenders. I'm going to be happy but I feel like we're not done with Crystal yet. Which unfortunately a lot of men in our community feel the same way.
Yeah.
And I feel like we are going to continue to we're going to see her on an all-star season, and it would be, whereas I don't know that we would ever see like Gigi in an all-star season or Jada in an all-star season, whereas I think we could see Crystal in one. So I think that is part of the reason why I feel like it's really kind of Jada's.
All right, very good. Well, why don't we call it a day there? Taylor, that's going to do it for this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us next week. Oh, by the way, this episode was produced by Luke Stamen. I forgot to read that part. But join us next week when and every week. No, just next week, because... Well, no, every week, and then All Stars 5. As we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12. So, for Taylor the Latte Boy and myself...
Sashay away until next week.
Thank you for listening to RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Email us at dragracerecap@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Drag Race Recap. If you want access to more Season 12 content, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. You can follow Taylor the Latte Boy on Twitter and Instagram at PIMCTaylor. Follow Joe Betance on Twitter and Instagram at Joe Betance. That's JoeBetance. The theme song was written by Lucian Piani and arranged and performed by Alex Lefebvre. This episode was produced by Luke Stamen. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.